Hello and welcome to the third of our 2022 Vitality T20 Blast preview shows in association with our friends at the Cricket Draft. My name is Aaron, aka the Cricket Connoisseur, and for the first time in 2022, I'm absolutely delighted to say that we've got the entire band together. The three musketeers from the Cricket Draft, Chris Dixon, Dino, and of course the sceptical cricketer himself, Rory are joining me for today's show. But before we get into the Game Week 3 preview itself, we do of course have to look back to Game Week 2. And to kickstart today's show, let's have a look at the leaderboard of the TCCP Cricket Draft Fantasy League. And it's my absolute pleasure to say that this week, unfortunately, for the third consecutive show, it's none of us. We're still not leading our own league, which is fantastic. But at the end of Game Week 2, the leader of the TCCP Cricket Draft Fantasy League is Digvijay Joshi, 3,749 points. And some of the selections as well, the likes of Josh Davey, I think he had Livingston in there as a captain or vice-captain, had Tim David in there as well, which is very, very helpful indeed. So congratulations to Digvijay Joshi. Very, very good game week indeed. But with Game Week 2, in the history books, it's done and dusted. The chapter has been closed. For the time being, let's have a look forward to Game Week 3. And Chris, I'll pass over to you for this one, mate. What can we expect to see in Game Week 3 in terms of trends, patterns, analysis, maybe some things to watch out for? What are the things that we should be looking out for heading into this third round of fixtures?
Okay, so you've got the usual, you've got the double game weeks. I think all except 4 of the counties have double game weeks this week. But I'd say particularly this week to look out for the weather. There's potentially on Saturday and Sunday, there's a bit of rain coming. So it's probably the first time we have to take into consideration, who's playing over those days. Do you want to avoid those players? Especially if you've got someone just with a single game week and one of their single games is on the Saturday or Sunday, you might want to be avoiding them, looking forward to the weekend. So yeah, weather, we live in the UK, so it's time to... unfortunately, look at that one, I think, this week.
Yeah, to be honest, Chris, we've seen it already this week, haven't we? I mean, I've been to 2 games in 3 days. Both have been rain affected. Yeah. So, yeah, let's just say the great British weather is, of course, taking its toll so far in this year's T20 Blast. And just one question, really, Chris, because you're the expert for this, really. In terms of the scoring in this year's T20 Blast game, just for those who don't know how it works, could you just give us a brief explanation, a little bit of an overview as to the scoring system?
Yeah, so the 2 things that have really been revamped recently is the economy rate bonuses and the strike rate bonuses. So now it's not just about getting wickets or getting runs, but bowlers and batsmen will be rewarded or penalised for their economy rate or their strike rate during the game. So for batsmen, any strike rate above 140 will be rewarded, and it actually scales up all the way up to 230. So the more runs you get at a specific strike rate will be multiplied by a multiplier. So it really gives the opportunity for batsmen to get really high scores. And potentially, actually, they get a lot more than bowlers. And the reason for this is because the batsmen, there's no cap. They can potentially bat the whole innings, whereas bowlers can only bowl 4 overs. But there's a lot more volatility with the batsmen as well. So potentially they can get out after a few balls and get a low score. So bowlers could be more consistent, but batsmen can certainly have the ability to get much higher scores. I think in the IPL game, Quinton de Kock got, 524 points. It was the top score for a single player in a single game. And that was almost half of his score for the entire tournament because he got 140 off 70 odd balls. So there's a real, kind of volatility with the batsmen. They can, they could get out early, but if they go big and bat the whole innings, they can be rewarded. So that's kind of why they get a bit more. So yeah, that's kind of how the scoring system works.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, first and foremost, thank you for clearing that up. Again, very, very useful information for any cricket draft players out there. But that also does go a long way to explaining some of our analyst picks for this week. And of course, for those who haven't seen the previous couple of shows, we have 3 categories for the segments. We have our banker, which is the marquee name. We have our one to watch, an under 25 player. And then, of course, we have our wild card, my personal favourite category, which is a player under £100,000 in the game. So, Dino, I'll start with you first for this, mate. Who's your banker for Game Week 3?
All right. Well, let me just say quickly that it's really a pleasure to always to do this with you guys, and scouting the players, watching the games on YouTube. It's so accessible. It just makes the engagement so much better, and just discovering the talent of the Vitality Blast is really good. And simple banker for me today, it's going to be Sam Curran. He comes into my team. No brainer for me. He's done so well in the 2 games he's played. I expect him to just continue. He's been pretty consistent.
He most certainly has, Dino. And again, Chris mentioning that scoring system. 5.57 economy rates, striking at 175 with a bat. Definitely a smart shout, in my personal opinion. And Chris, talking of yourself, what about your banker for this game week? Who have you selected as your marquee player?
So I've gone for Liam Livingston. Again, I think someone went from the previous week, but Lancashire have another double game week, so I can't really look past it. I think, in my opinion, potentially the most valuable player in the game when he plays. Of course, got to look ahead to England in a couple of weeks. He'll be going off, but I think when he plays, he bowl most of his allocation of overs, bat in the top 4. Strike rate is exceptional over the past few years, especially he's even higher than what's on screen now. So I can't really look past Liam Livingston for my banker.
Fair enough, Chris. Again, a very, very popular pick indeed, and an excellent player. And Rory, I think I know your marquee player for this week, but just for the viewers out there, who have you selected?
Yeah, I've got to be disappointing and a bit boring and go Liam Livingston as well, personally. I think two home fixtures, Derbyshire and Northamptonshire, makes for quite a good game week. And obviously, listening to Chris's scoring system, he does just have the ability to go off. He looks like he's trying to hit every ball for 6. When's that going to come off and get him 100 off 40 balls? It's got to be on the cards at some point.
Oh, it's ominous, isn't it, with Liam Livingston? Because he is that kind of player. Exactly. Just 1 innings, 1 big knock. And again, that could be basically your team set up for an entire game week. So they are popular picks. Admittedly, no surprises for the bankers this week, but Sam Curran and 2 shouts of Liam Livingston, definitely get them in your side if you can. And moving on to the one to watch then. Dino, again, I'll start with you first, mate, for this segment. Who have you selected for game week 3?
The one to watch, this is the under 25 pick. I'm going this week with Chris Benjamin. I've had a look at this guy. He's a wicket keeper, bats in the middle order, but he's been electric in the last 2 games. I've looked at his footwork against spin is impeccable. He just moves anywhere around, forward, back to the side to just get into positions to hit the spin. And when it comes to pace, he just holds his grounds and stands and delivers. So this is a really exciting talent that I've seen in the last 2 games. I've had some feedback that I don't have any West Indians in my side. Well, Carlos Bradford is the captain of that team. That's the closest I'm getting to it. So Chris Benjamin is the guy I'm going with, man. He looks an exciting player at age 23, I believe. So he just sneaks in under the 25 cap.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dino, as a fan of the Bears, I'm obviously not going to disagree with that shout at all. A cricketer so good, they gave him 2 first names. Simple as that. What a player, what a cricketer. And yes, a very, very good shout indeed. And Chris, what about yourself? Who have you selected as your one to watch heading into this game week?
So I've gone for Sam Curran. Could easily have been the banker as well, but I think he offers great value. He opens the bowling. Batted 3-8 yesterday for Surrey. There was a matchup that came on. I think Gloucester, Tom Smith came on, left arm spinner, perfect straight into Sam Curran's arc, hit him for 6 first ball, got out second ball. But batting 3, opening the bowling, I think that's a great shout. And of course, he's still under 25 as well, so it snuck him into this category. Yeah,
that's quite useful, isn't it, really? The flexibility of Sam Curran for the picks this week, actually. He can go across multiple formats, multiple categories as well. So, yeah, obviously a very, very, very sensible shout indeed. And Rory, what about yourself? I'm interested to hear who your pick is for this week.
I've gone with Will Smead. I think he's just going to have a brilliant year. I've had a lot of faith in Will Smead from quite early on in his career. He looks like he can hit a ball a long way. 2 home games at Taunton this week. Don't really see how it could go too far wrong.
Exactly. And again, the muscles on that man, absolutely impeccable, aren't they? He does look like a bit of a bodybuilder. He's got a lot of strength, obviously very, very powerful on the leg side. And again, we look at strike rate, 157.81 in the Blast so far this season. A very, very sensible shout indeed. And then we move on to the third and final of our categories, which is my favourite, the wild card. I love this every single week. Dino, kickstart us. Who have you selected for game week 3?
All right. This guy's been on my bench. It's Michael Pepper from Essex. He's been on my bench from game week 1, and I just, because of his numbers and his price, he's under 50. He started at 51K, right? He's 66 now. He's rising in price in his performances, batting at 3. I had a look at him again. This is a dynamic guy with really good footwork. I saw him take on Liam Dawson in the power play. He hit him, he cut him, then he drive him, and then he pulled him. So he's hit him on the 3 parts of the ground in 1 over. And the footwork, again, like I said, dynamic, similar to Benjamin in that regard. So coming in at 3 in a team that, it's not really done so well in the power play, I think, you're going to see a lot of him. They're going to expect a lot of him now. So Michael Pepper's the one for me.
Absolutely, Dino. And again, for such a young cricketer, very, very seasoned, isn't he? In county cricket is Mr. Pepper. But moving on then from that shout, Dino, let's go on to Chris again. Who have you selected as your wild card for game week 3?
So I've gone for Michael Hogan, the Australian veteran who turned 41 yesterday, believe it or not. He took a fifer against Surrey. There were weeks. He's only 67k, has a career bowling average of around 23 and economy in the 7s. So I think he offers great value. Not many people own him, so it could be a great differential in the game. But yeah, 41 years old and still going strong. 9 wickets already this season in 3 games. So yeah, that's why I've gone for him.
Again, what a cricketer. And Chris, may I just say, what a shout as well. Michael Hogan, if you're watching, sign that contract extension. We want to see another year. # 1 more year. Get it in the comments. But moving on then to our final wildcard shout then for this week. Rory, you always give us some interesting shouts. So who have you selected for this round of fixtures?
I'm not sure if interesting shouts is a good thing, but I've gone for a bear himself, Jacob Bethel. Got some fixtures that I think he's going to be facing quite a lot of spin early on in the innings, and he looks like an excellent player of spin from what I've seen of him in second 11 cricket. He's obviously got a lot of potential. He could go hard on his day. His second 11 numbers have been exceptional, and I think this week could be the week that he kind of makes that start and pulls it into being a bit more.
Well, obviously, Rory, I would not be against that at all. 2 massive games for the Bears against Leicestershire, and of course the derby at New Road against Worcestershire County Cricket Club. Hasn't had the greatest of starts, but I'll tell you what, Jacob Bethel is a very, very special cricketer. You see that price 61k? I think that's going to rise in the next few weeks. And again, we're going to be hearing a lot more about this guy for many, many years to come. I've absolutely no doubt about that. But with our picks and selections sorted, let's go on to our third and final segment for today's show, which is, of course, our Analyst 11s. So, Dino, I'll pass over to you. Who have you selected in your squad for this week's game week?
So to go with the 11 from the batting lineup, the first 3 guys I have, as it goes on the screen, Smeed, Pepper, and Benjamin. I consider these 3 very risky picks because these guys go hard. Smeed is a raw talent, so it can go either way. I feel with him. Pepper and Benjamin are, like I mentioned, their footwork dynamic, and again, these guys take risks. That's what I'm saying. The good news is Benjamin bats in the middle over. I expect him to actually get promoted based on his performances. For me, the all-rounders, De Oliveira, Livingston, Critchley, and Curran just fills me with confidence. Those 4, there were considerations for Moeen Ali. I think he should be available, but those 4 fill me with confidence. Livingstone is going to be the captain. My wicketkeeper is going to be Phil Salt. And then the bowlers is where I had the most trouble deciding who I should start because on my team, everyone doubles this game week, including some guys on the bench. But I've actually gone triple Bears. I've gone with Lintott, Briggs. I have Benjamin as well, and I have Heldrich as my bowlers. So the reason I've done this is because on paper they have easy fixtures, but I know there's no such thing as easy fixtures, especially when teams have to win. So them being at the top of the table, I've gone with their spinners. And that's it in a nutshell, really. I would just say on the captaincy of Livingstone, he's 40%, maybe 42+% owned. So I have to go with him as a captain because if he does really make a lot of points, then 42% of the competition is going to go past me. So in a sense, it's a safe pick. But, really, I think I've taken a lot of risks, but I also have some good, solid performers in that team.
You most certainly do, Dino. Very, very nice selections indeed. Danny Briggs, owned by just 10% of players. The Vitality Blast's all-time leading wicket taker. Again, a very, very nice pick indeed. And Chris, your debut for the show this year. So no pressure with this 11, but who have you selected for game week 3?
So for my batsmen, I've gone for Will Smeed, Daniel Bell-Drummond and Joe Clark. Daniel Bell-Drummond's strike rate has improved a lot over the last few years. First few years, I think it was just hovering around the 120 mark. The last few years, it's really gone up, and they've all got double game weeks apart from Joe Clark. He's the only person in my side that doesn't have a double game week, but I didn't quite want to take a hit on the transfers this week. Then all-rounders, I've got 4 great all-rounders: Liam Livingston, Moeen Ali, Daniel Sams and Sam Curran. Just a small caveat with Moeen Ali, he's still not available for today's game. He's not in the squad. He's been given a bit more time off since he come back from the IPL and due to join up with England in a couple of weeks. So he'll get subbed out if he doesn't play either of his 2 game weeks fixtures this game week. And then for the bowlers, I've gone for 3 very low value picks in Rehan Ahmed, Michael Hogan and Freddie Heldrick. I feel they offer great value, low percentage owned, and also that frees up a lot of the budget to spend on your key positions, which are your all-rounders and your batsmen, as there's where you can really get the big points. So rotating those with my transfers, the batsmen and the all-rounders, and keeping cheap picks in the bowlers is a way to really do well, I think.
Absolutely, Chris. And you mentioned about Moeen Ali. Again, wouldn't it just be our luck as Warwickshire County Cricket Club? The first game back is the derby. So, yeah, he is going to be back, apparently, along with Dwayne Bravo for that game at New Road on Friday. So, again, I do think we'll see him, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. And Rory, again, save the most interesting till last. Who have you selected for game week 3?
So my 3 batters, I'm keeping a bit of faith in the Gloucestershire batting lineup. I think there's something more there. I've gone with Ian Cobain, Glenn Phillips and Will Smeed. Liam Livingston, Benny Howell, Jacob Bethel and more faith kept in Aaron Lilly in the all-rounder spot with Sam Billings as keeper. Not sure where he's going to bat with Zach Crawley gone, but I suspect he'll probably be making a step upwards. And as my 3 bowlers, Freddie Heldrick, Jake Lintott and Rehan Ahmed. So all double game weeks. Should all be fairly nailed on to play both. Although I did say that about Calvin Harrison last week. And yeah, hopefully relatively good fixtures as well.
Well, indeed. And again, keeping up with the theme of spin to win. All leg spinners. Heldrich, Lintott, Ahmed. Then you got some part-time spin, I suppose, from Aaron Lilly. You got Jacob Bethel as well. And Glenn Phillips. Glenn Phillips can bowl some spin as well. So, yeah, Rory, we'll have to wait and see. But a very, very interesting team indeed. And to wrap up today's show, for those who don't know, it's actually 1-1 here at the County Cricket Podcast Cricket Draft Preview Show in 2022. Dino actually did finish above Rory in game week 2, so we're currently in a bit of a deadlock. And Chris, considering it is your first time on the show for 2022, just one final question, quite a pertinent one. Which one of these 2 is going to finish on top in game week 3?
Well, who knows? It's down to anyone's guess over a single game week. But if I'm pushed, I'm going to have to go with Dino. I like his team. I think he's got good strength in all-rounders this week. And
you jinxed me. I can just feel it.
No pressure, Dino. But yeah, if I'm pushed, I'm going to have to go for you.
Fair enough, Chris. Again, 2
Congrats,
very good
Rory.
though. Well, you say that actually, yeah, that has been how the game weeks have panned out so far. It's been the opposite of what's been predicted. But again, anything can happen. The game of cricket is very funny. We do, of course, have the weather. We shall just have to wait and see who does emerge on top in game week 3. But that is it from us 4 here at the County Cricket Podcast for today's preview show. So each and every single one of you who's tuned in today, thank you very much for doing so. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next one.